You're ready to. Okay.
Just so the sun's not in my face, so give me just a second.
Well, we usually start like give people like 5 minutes to trickle in. So
Okay, we have a little bit of a buffer then. Sun has been eradicated. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll get started in just a few minutes, but we'll give a few minutes for everybody to trickle in. Same along the AI bots, chat thingies that automatically jump into meetings. So hopefully that helps.
they usually come at the beginning and then once you say no, they be gone.
Okay. Now I need a few more people that I see that are waiting.
Oh, yay. Nice little crowd.
Okay. Let me see if there's anybody else that's waiting to be let in. Thank you. Don't see any more pending or admits to hear. Do you see anybody else on your end as
I
co-host?
can't see them anymore. If you make me co-host again, then I'll be able to see.
Select some people dropped out, so give me a second. No, initially I was letting in about 18. Now we're down to 9.
Yeah, we don't have anybody waiting.
Okay, got it. Give me a second. Someone just texted me for the link. And I need to do that, and then I'll be ready to start. Well, we're about seven after, so thank you, and I'll keep an eye out if anything pops up that says, let people in or join. If there's anybody else who's still hasn't joined or waiting to be let in, please let us know. Alrighty, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Monica Groves, and I'll be teaching you about the Missouri wines. This is a study hall to get you into the middle of America, and teach you some things that I recently learned when I moved back home to St. Louis. So I hope you all will be having a great evening. This is a part of my work with Hugh Society. I received a scholarship to get my WSET 2 last year, and so we get to come and bring any of our knowledge and new things that we've learned on our education journey with you as members and some of the public. So thank you so much for coming today. And we'll get into it. We won't take up the whole hour, but we'll have a little fun and you'll leave with a little extra random knowledge. So today's agenda, we're going to learn about Missouri's AVAs, the grapes that thrive here, the wines produced here. And then if you happen to come to visit St. Louis or Kansas City, you'll come, and if you want to drive to the middle of the state, that's fine too. We'll give you some suggestions and recommendations on places you can visit, wines you can try. So a little bit about me. I am Monica. A lot of my friends call me Mo. So if you hear Mo or Monica, same person. I'm founder of Mo Vines, which curates wine experiences and provides wine consultation and education. And I really want to incorporate exploratory wine tasting. I create wine ciphers and other events such as head wraps and wine and sips that really take people on the journey of learning the basics of wine, their wine preferences, something new and random. A lot of times we'll mix in history, music, you name it. As a WSET 2 level certified wine educator, I have experience wine tasting across 3 continents, and of course, expertise does hosting over a dozen head wraps and wine and sips, which are interactive events that create a really great safe space for people to have a good time and to learn something new. I love going wine tasting. I didn't start out doing this as this cool thing that I must do. I was just drinking wine with my friends, and I was the one out of my 5 wine team friends that took it seriously and started getting into learning more and finding how can this become my passion. And so along crazy adventures with them, I've wine tasted in Napa and Sonoma, of course, in Missouri, the Willamette Valley, Stellenbosch in South Africa, Tuscany in Italy, Champagne and Burgundy in France, and recently, as of last year, the Douro Valley in Portugal. So you may ask yourself, what is there to see in the Show Me State? Well, there's actually a lot. So Missouri has 5 American viticultural areas. That's Augusta, Ozark Mountain, Herman, Ozark Highlands, and Los Hills District. Now, where is Missouri? It's in the Midwest. For those who are on the West Coast or the East Coast, you kind of forget there's something in the middle of the country. So this is the state of Missouri, and you'll see here a map of our AVAs. Now, our AVAs have distinct characteristics based on location, and a lot of that is our geography and all those things, the topography that goes into wine. So we have our Northern Plains, our Ozark Plateau, and our Mississippi Alluvian Plain as well. Now, wondering what these things are and how did I get into a science lesson about geography, but just to give you a little bit of detail, the northern plains are gently rolling fertile plains, and they're well-watered prairies. That's getting out yonder towards more flatter land. Our Ozark Plateau are high ridges and springs and caves formed by gradual water erosion. So if you've been to Missouri, you've heard of like Merrimack Caverns and caves and caverns. We have a lot of porous rock under us. And so a lot of times we have caves and lots of porous rock and water. And once again, all of that goes into the soil, as well as some of the flinty type of characteristics you can find in some of our white wines. And then we have the Mississippi Alluvian Plain, which of course is floodplain by the Mississippi River. And so that gives you a little bit of information and background about Missouri, what's happening with our topography and geography, and how that could affect your wine. So, looking at the 5 AVAs, did you know that the first AVA in the United States was accorded to Augusta, Missouri on June 20th, 1980? So yes, We beat out Napa and Sonoma. 7 California districts and one in Oregon had all filed their applications as well, but the honor went to the small 15 square miles in the area surrounding Augusta, Missouri. Next up, we have the Ozark Mountain AVA. Now, the Ozark Mountain AVA came about in 1986, and it covers most of the AVAs in Missouri with 3.5 million acres across southern Missouri and extended into northwest Arkansas as well as northeast Oklahoma. Now, the Ozark AVA is so large that it has several smaller AVAs within its borders, like Augusta, Herman, and the Ozark Highlands. And it is the sixth largest AVA in the United States. So that's a little something for you. I'm quite sure you're like, huh, who knew that that was happening in the middle of the map? But hey, it is. Next up, we have Herman. And yes, there's supposed to be two N's at the end of Herman. The AVA was recognized in 87 and consists of about 51,000 acres in the area of Herman. That's between St. Louis, Missouri and Jefferson City, Missouri. And Jefferson City is our capital. Lots of German immigrants settled here on the Missouri River Valley. And in this area around the 1830s, they began planting vineyards in what today is one of the most historic regions of the nation. And you may know in St. Louis, we have Anheuser-Busch, German. So if you see a lot of influence from Europe around here, it's likely going to be German, Polish, sprinkling of Italian. Did anyone have a question? I heard someone's mic. No. Okay, I'll keep going then. So after Herman, we have, if this guy start moving again. Okay, the Ozark Highlands. Now, this AVA is a newer kid on the block, although the traditions go back to about the 1870s. It's the fourth one in Missouri and has 1.28 million acres that are in central Missouri, and then it covers parts of Missouri that are getting down towards St. James, Missouri, towards the Boo Hill as well. So that's really cool. One thing about St. James Winery, which is one of our most popular wineries in this area, is a lot of their wine is sweet. The palate of wine drinkers in Missouri is sweet. It's, in my opinion, damn near Kool-Aid. It's peach, it's blackberry, it's tropical, it's strawberry. But once again, they're adding an extra sugar, the extra flavor. And you just kind of have to, go with your demographic and what they like. They do have a few not so sweet ones, but if you are a sweet wine girly, St. James Winery has a lot of good stuff for you. And there's the Los Hills District. Now, this AVA is really new as of 2016. It's about 13,000 acres, and it's in the hills in this narrow region in the western banks of the Missouri and the Big Sioux Rivers. Now, that's up in the far northwest corner of Missouri near Iowa. I don't know what's up there. I've never been there, but apparently there's wine. And one day I'll go out there and taste it. But in this area, there's like rolling hills and topography that really allows for the grapevine roots to get deep in the soil and grow really, really well. So it's always exciting to learn something new because I didn't know about this one at all. And I was like, there's a little thing of wine up there. I feel like in this area, you might as well just go to Nebraska, in all honesty. Just keep going. You'll be somewhere near Mount Rushmore. Because once you get, in my mind, once you get north of St. Joseph, Missouri, which is on the Kansas City side of Missouri, it's the Wild West. I have no idea what's out there. And as a Black person in Missouri, I usually say in St. Louis, Kansas City, don't go in the middle unless I'm going to get wine and I'm back in the house before the sun's down. So although I'm in a red state, we have our two blue bubbles where there's diversity and cool things going on. And I just go to the middle to like learn stuff about wine and see some like cotton or something or tobacco or corn. There's lots of corn here in the middle that I don't know. But it's interesting to see like in a large city, because St. Louis gives you a little bit of like a Baltimore feel. If you drive 2 hours outside, then it looks like you're in the middle of like nowhere, which is sometimes people can characterize as. So as we learned about the 5 AVAs, we'll get a little bit into what grapes grow there. So Missouri, we have about 9 varietals that you will see here that are pretty prominent, that'll play a part in a lot of our wines as on their own or in a blend. So we have Catawba, which is a North American hybrid grape. It's used in the production of your pink and your rosé wines. And Catawba is gonna give you a strawberry juice look. It's gonna smell like freshly picked berries, and it pairs well with fried chicken. So if you're around here and you want some chicken and there's a Catawba around, you should try it. Next, we have Chambourcin, which is a red French-American hybrid grape, and it's known for producing very dark juice. And usually even if your skins are dark, your juices are clear. In this case, this one produces a dark juice and it's medium bodied. Smells like cherries and a little bit of light oak. You would think that based on the color and what it's looking like. But also it pairs well with burgers. So once again, it's something I hadn't heard of until I moved out here. And there are some grapes that grow here or that are used here that you don't see in your usual haunts of like Finger Lakes or out in Napa and Sonoma. And then we have Chardonnay. This is a name that somebody should be naming their daughter sometime soon, like Chardonnay and Chanel, haha. But it is a cross between a Sauvignon Blanc and a Chardonnay Blanc. I'm not sorry, Chardonnay Blanc and a Chardonnay grape. It's late ripening, and the wine produces full body wine. Now, this is dry white, so if you're looking for a dry white, you're a Chardonnay, Sauv Blanc girl, this may be where you want to go. And one thing about this grape, it has excellent resistance to the winter frost here, so it does well in our climate, and you can throw some grilled chicken with this one. Next up, we have Concord. This is the American grape. You think about jelly, this is your grape. This was selected from the wild in the mid 1800s. Makes a great sweet red wine out here. Even if it's a red wine, people tend to like kind of sweet. So Concord thrives with the wine drinkers out here in this area. Now, looking at Concord, there's a little bit of information about this one. It's really interesting. So with Concord, it's best served chilled, which is interesting. It tastes like candy a little bit. It's a bit sweet, but it pairs well with aged cheeses. So if you find yourself with a Concord, get you some good aged cheese. Now, Norton is our official Missouri state grape, and it's also known as Cynthiana. Norton accounts for a big amount of the grapes here in Missouri. 21% of all grapes grown in Missouri are Norton, and it creates a big, bold red, but also it pairs well with lamb. So if you're going to see a major or a super red here, you're going to see Norton a lot. And then we have Sauvignon Blanc, which is a French-American hybrid grape that makes a dry to semi-dry wine, and it can be fermented. So here you'll find an oaked Sauvignon Blanc or an unoaked Sauvignon Blanc, kind of similar to your Chardonnay. So once again, looking at this, it looks light, almost kind of like a green golden white, tastes like crisp pear, and also a little bit of spice. So it pairs well with something like a pungent, funky goat cheese or something like that. Next up in our last three, we have Traminette. Now, this is a white hybrid grape, which is really interesting because it makes a medium body wine and it's similar to Gewürztraminer. Now, what you'll keep seeing and what will keep coming up for us here? German. So once again, with the Traminette, it's going to give you a fresh floral feel, semi-sweet to dry, and it pairs well with something that's kind of giving you a semi-sweet and a sour, like a sweet and sour chicken. And then we have Vidal Blanc. Now, this was developed by a French grape breeder in the 1930s and has since found a home in Missouri wine country. Like, I feel like if you're out here, the ones you're going to see a lot, you're going to see your Nordens and your reds, and you're going to see your Vidal Blancs and your whites. So Vidal Blanc looks like straw, has notes of pear, gives you apple, citrus, but also it pairs well with sushi. So this is your good wine that's kind of akin to, I'd say, a Sauv Blanc around other parts of the country or the world. And then we have our Vigno, a French-American hybrid, it's hardy enough to handle the Missouri winters because we do get pretty cold here. We get frost. It doesn't snow often, but it's cold for a nice chunk of the year, especially in your winter. And it's one of the earlier ripening grape varietals in the state. Now, right after Norton, with 21% of all grapes grown in Missouri, you have Vigneault with about 15.5% of all grapes grown in Missouri, and it pairs well with pretty spicy food. So it's always exciting to see how that plays out. Now, are you interested in coming to Missouri? I know I've piqued your interest. Maybe you want to come, maybe you don't. But if you find yourself this way, I do have a few suggestions on a few things that you can do and taste when it comes to some of our AVAs or coming into Kansas City or St. Louis. So Augusta is about 45 minutes away from me. I've been there about 3-4 times. And out of the vineyards or the wineries I've visited there, I really like Chandler Hill, Montel, Defiance Ridge, and Mount Pleasant. Now, Chandler Hill, one thing that's of note is that the land that this winery is built on is actually formerly the land of a Black man, an emancipated Black man. About 1870, he got that land. And what's great is that although it's now owned by a white family, they have lots of information and displays about the original owners of the land, their lives, their history. They keep in touch with the man's descendants. And it's great because sometimes you don't think about Black people being in the middle of Missouri somewhere, but sometimes we're there and we have been there, and sometimes the history is kind of hidden or forgotten about. So at this winery, they don't do tastings, but they do barrel room tastings by special occasion. It's a full restaurant. You can buy glasses, bottles, and they have a beautiful back patio that outlooks their vineyard. So Chandler Hill is a great place to go, even for small date nights or even group settings. For a birthday, I took a bus out that way and had about 10, 12 people come out to Chandler Hill and have wine, take pictures, have lunch, and it was a really good time. Now, Montel is another winery out in the Augusta area. They have your usuals. They have your Vidal Blancs, they have your Vigneault, they'll have your Norden and things of that nature. They even have some rosés there. They have food to eat. You're going to get more of a German feel. It's more of a down home place. You buy your bottle, you go sit out on their patio, and once again, look at the rolling hills of Missouri, and it's a good time. And once again, some of these things you can charter a bus out for, or you can just drive out there and don't do it too big. From St. Louis is about 45 minutes. Now, Defiance Ridge has the vibes. Defiance Ridge is actually in Defiance, Missouri, which is about 10 minutes away from Augusta. And they have a beautiful land with the main house, a big tasting room, event space. Outside, they have a lake. Sometimes there are igloos set up for like if you want to have a date or a small group tasting or food or dinner. They have a full service restaurant, and it is a vibe. They usually have like a live band. Sometimes there's a reggae band. For the most part, it's like Americana music. So you just got to learn how to get jiggy with it, whatever they're playing. But it's a really great time. So Defiance Ridge, the wine is okay. And the wine tasting experience there is very casual. It's just come up with your glass, get some wine, taste it. All right, have a good time, talk to your people. In my experience, there wasn't a lot of wine education at Defiance Ridge, but it's hard to do so when it's quite popular and quite busy in the summer. You can't do that personal touch as much, but it's definitely good for vibes, good for a nice chilled rosé and all the cool like wings, flatbreads, and dips that they have on the menu. And then we have Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is in downtown Augusta, Missouri, and it has a great property, good wines. The wines are not all sweet, which is great. So it gives you some time to move into your dries and your semi-sweets and your whites, as well as your drier reds. And once again, it's historic. You can probably bring kids here. There's outside things to do, and it's great. Now, if you have time, you can walk across the street to Augusta Winery, which is very small. They have the usual players, your Vidal Blanc, your Vigneault, but there's not a lot of places to sit. So it's pretty much a come in, sit, stand at the bar, do your tastings, and move out. There's a few places outside to sit, and they did build what would you call this? A picnic area the block over where you can take your wine and go up there and sit. That's if it's a good day. But on the inside, there are not a lot of places to sit and taste. But once again, this is all within a 10 to 15 minute drive of each other, and you can get in a good day with 1 to 3 wineries in the Augusta, Missouri area. Now going to Herman. Herman's about an hour and a half away from St. Louis. I've been out there once, trying to go again at least 2 more times this summer. Herman is on the Amtrak line. So if you're in Kansas City or St. Louis, you can actually take the Amtrak into Herman for the day. And out of St. Louis, the Amtrak train leaves about, let's see, 8 a.m. We get out to Herman about 9:30, 9:45, grab some breakfast. Few wineries start opening at 10, most open at 11. In Herman, they have a Herman wine train. You pay $25 and you can hop on and off this wine train or trolley throughout the downtown area of Herman, as well as a few wineries out yonder on the countryside. Now, my favorite winery in the Herman area is Adam Puta. They have a lot of wines. They have your sweets, they have your dries, they have your rosés. You name it, they got it. They even have some dry reds and some red blends to put you in mind of a nice Pinot Noir, which I love. They also have winery cats. They have lots of cats that roam. So if you don't like cats, just stay away from them, but they just be outside chilling. Now, this is the winery where I feel that the staff was the most knowledgeable. You come in, it's air conditioned, there's a smile, there may be a cat in the tasting room too, walking around, but they take the time to tell you about the wine. They know very much so about their product, and it's really great, and you have a good time. You walk out of there feeling like that's your little Reva Shane auntie best buddy, and she about to make the best blondies or something. So Adam Punta is a vibe. And once again, you can buy a bottle, you can sit outside on their picnic areas. They have special events, and at least once a year, they roast a whole hog. And so it's like a big thing, and they have music, and it's really fun. So once again, it's in the middle of the world, but once again, you can have a really good time. Hermanoff may be one of the oldest wineries in Herman. It is right downtown, a block from the Amtrak station. It looks like some old 1776 building where Paul Revere may have come to say the British were coming or something. But it's a good vibe, really great quality wine, diverse wine, not all sweets. And there's probably going to be some sausages or some cheese around there for you to try and taste. They even have a sausage and cheese vending machine all put through the German palate in downtown. So that's kind of cool. You can just buy sausage, buy some cheese, get a bottle of wine, and just chill out in the little downtown. And then once again, once you get back out of the downtown Herman area, there's Stonehill. Now, Stonehill has a free tour you can take that takes you into their winery, into their barn to see some of their still tanks, learn about their wines and the methods and the family. They have, once again, a very big wine tasting area with multiple rooms where their staff will take you and take you on the journey of doing your tasting. Get about 4 or 5 tastings there, and they have a very large showroom where you can buy all the bottles of the wines that you taste there. Now, what I find is that when you're out there, you can buy with anywhere, you can buy wines from there that you wouldn't find here locally in store. So once again, it's great to go out to Herman, make a day of it. They even have a lot of B&Bs out that way. So you could make it an overnight trip where you drive in or you Amtrak in and you drive or Amtrak out the next day. So that's a really cool thing as well. And Herman tends to always have some kind of festival. It's a chocolate festival. It's a bacon festival. It's a bratwurst festival. There's always some kind of festival happening. And I just think that's a part of their downtown marketing to bring people into the city. And then they always attach wine to it and give like stations where you can get chocolate, stations where you can try sausage. And those things are kind of paired with the wine of the wineries out there. Next up, if you're not trying to go in the middle of yonder and you're in St. Louis or Kansas City, there's a few wine bars that I can recommend for you. There's Intertwine. It's a new kid on the block here in St. Louis. It is Black owned. It's a good vibe. They have pop-ups. They decorate for every holiday. They have a back patio for the summer. They're working on a humidor for cigars because cigars is a big thing with the guys here in St. Louis. And they have a speakeasy upstairs where they have karaoke as well as live music. So once again, support a Black owned business. Good wine too. And I was really surprised they had Chenin Blanc on the menu. Because once again, sometimes in St. Louis is like Cab, Merlot, Moscato. So I always appreciate the owners, Miss Pat, for branching out and bringing something cool. Now, if you're looking for something sleek, sexy, and sophisticated, Videra Wine Bar and Shop is in downtown St. Louis, about midtown, and it's Black owned once again, but it's cute. It's a date night. It's that great charcuterie. You can also buy wine, and there's a cool Filipino restaurant right next door to it. So Videra is definitely on the other end of I'm going to dress up, go out, and like feel my inner Beyonce when I'm out here. And then we have Passport Cocktail and Wine Bar. This is a new kid on the block. Actually, if you were at Wine and Culture last year, Javia of Poor Decision STO was on a panel. She and her husband own this cocktail bar that opened a few months ago. So you may find it to be of value to stop on by. Now, if you're in Kansas City, I don't go out that way often, but I have been to Sellaway Wine. That's your usual wine bar that has the wine in the cases. You have your card, you get a little 2 ounce pour, and you can just sip to your heart's content. But it's a big space, great customer service, great menu, and it's in North Kansas City, which is close to the airport, and there's free parking. Ha ha, because one thing when you're in the Midwest, a lot of times you don't have to pay for parking. I hope that the whole East Coast and West Coast thing doesn't come here. You have to pay for parking all the time. And then there's Tannin Wine Bar, and that is a Black owned spot. I have not tried it, but I asked some of my sorors in Kansas City, like, what's popping on the wine streets. And a lot of people recommended this place. So that is what's going on in Kansas City. If you find yourself there and you want to drink a little bit of wine. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. I also brought on a little bit of wine. So I'll give you guys my information and then we can talk more about wine and hopefully answer any questions you have. If not, I'll find the answer. So I'd love to work with you. Follow me on Instagram at headwrapsandwine, or you can email me at headwrapsandwine@gmail.com. I'd love to work with you and make something shake. So with that, we can get into answering any questions you may have and talking a little bit about some Missouri wines. Now, I went to the store today and I got some. So let's see if I can get this up close enough for you guys to see it. So this is Adam Punta. This is the place I told you guys it had the cats. So this is Judge's Air. And this is the red blend. So this is great because it's not sweet. And it's kind of cool. I enjoy this. It puts me in mind of a Pinot Noir, a group red blend. It turns out that the first Punta who was here was a judge in Middle Missouri somewhere, and that's why they named this guy after him. I also talked to you guys about Stone Hill. That's out in Herman. Now, this is a Steinberg red. Now, this is once again another red blend, but hey, it could work for you. Looks like it's something that's going to be red fruit forward with aromas, a touch of sweetness. Once again, best served chill. But you may not find these in store, but they all do ship. One thing that you find is that a lot of places won't ship to Missouri, but in Missouri, they'll ship out to you guys. So Stone Hill's another good one. I'm always trying to find something that's not sweet. Like if you want sweet, St. James is it. Everything is like a Kool-Aid or a now and later. And then on the Stonehill side, they even have some white. So this is a Vidal Blanc. This is our dry white. I told you a little bit about this, but this guy's pretty good. I've had it before. Great white table wine. And then my favorite, Chardonnay's cousin, little sister now, the Chardonnay. I love this because there's the crisp, there's the fruit, there's a little bit of oak to it. Oak is my friend. I bought this before. I told you, I didn't tell you. I went to Adam Pool the first time for a wine 5K about 2 years ago. And I'm like, wine 5K. I walk, I don't run. But it was through the vineyards and I saw a snake and I took off running. And all the rest of the white people were like, oh, it's just a snake. Oh, it's just a river. I don't care what kind of snake it was. I was running. But then I went and got my free taste of wine and bought 6 bottles of wine. I did not anticipate doing that. So it's always a good time when you get your calisthenics in, but drink a little bit of wine. And feel free to unmute your mic. We can have a conversation. We can talk. If there's any questions you have, hopefully I have an answer.
Yeah, I had a
Hi.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sherry?
Yes. Hey, yeah. Hey, Ray. Hey,
Hi.
everyone. Oh my gosh, this was really great and informative. I was just wondering, is it really about the palate that makes it that the wines there tend to be on the sweeter side? Because I have friends in Iowa, so I've spent time in Door County, and which is known for cherries, and everything there is also sweet. And so, is it just a regional thing? Does it have anything to do with what could be the reasoning for that?
I think it's definitely regional in the palates of those who live here. I was a Moscato girl until I moved to California and eventually got introduced to other wines. And then I thought I was really doing, I was like, Moscato Dusty, ooh. But it's definitely the palates. And like my goal is just to introduce people to other wines that are adjacent to what they like. And of course, it makes business sense to lead with sweet if that's what you sing the people who buy your stuff or wanting to drink. But what's the great thing is that in Augusta and especially in Herman, they have sweets, but there's always a regular, a dry, a blend, or something that's not on the sweet side. So they end up having a diverse array of options because they're recognizing that people are starting to drink wine more, may have a refined palate, and they want to do some slow introduction into things that aren't sweet. And Chandler Hill, the one I talked about, that is on the land that was owned by the Black man back in the late 1870s. They actually import and bring some juice in from like the Willamette Valley, and they have a Pinot Noir on their menu that you can get by the bottle or the glass from grapes that are not grown in Missouri. So even they're starting to branch out and bring things from other places by buying juice from Oregon and making it there. And so that's a really interesting thing as well. But you can find sweet things. Just don't go to St. James. If you don't want sweet, do not go to St. James. It's
I
cool.
am definitely not a sweet person, but this has been so informative. I never would have thought. So this is really great. So thank you for the wonderful information. Now I want to come to Missouri.
Come on, if you come to St. Louis, look me up. I don't mind hanging out. I'm always drinking wine. I tell everybody I'm your resident wino.
We love it.
Yeah. I had a question. I just wanted to know if I know that you named in the beginning, we went through a lot of the grapes that are available, the native grapes and everything. Have you come across any interesting blends? Do
Here
they
they
blend like those grapes often?
Yeah, here they blend, but they usually don't go into detail on what they blended. So case in point,
Mm.
the judge's air. I bought this before when I bought those 6 bottles and ran from the snake, but they never tell you what the blend is. You'd have to actually call them like, hey, what's the blend in judge's air? And usually it is a blend of, I don't see a lot of Concord in here, but if they were going to blend, it's definitely going to be a bit of the Chambersin and maybe a little bit of Norton. Because once again, this is a
Thank you.
drier, so they wouldn't put Concord in here because it's a sweeter.
Can you repeat the last wine, the snake wine? Well, it's not the snake wine, but the
The name of it?
yeah.
Adam Adamputa, ADAMPUCHTA.
Well, it's slower.
ADMPUCHTA.
PUCHTA. Thank you.
And there's some
I'm gonna look that one
such a
up.
weird name too. I was like, Pukta.
It
It's
is.
like, you don't really say the C as Pukta. I was like, oh, I'll be learning.
Thank you very much. I'm interested in trying some of the wines. Obviously, not so much the sweet wines,
Yep.
since you to me seem like they're pretty overly.
Yeah, and I
overly
made sure the
sweet.
ones I bought are not sweet. Judge's Air is a red blend, not sweet. Chardonnay is Chardonnay's cousin, so it's gonna give you the fruit, but there's a little bit of oak in there. Vidal Blanc, it can be sweet. So when you see a Vidal Blanc, check the back and see what the sweetness level is.
Oh,
Stonehill,
that has a sweetness level. That's nice.
sometimes they'll show you, see that on the back where the little arrow is.
Yeah,
Can't read it, but they'll
I
show
can see it.
back for Stonehill what the sweetness level is. So this is a dry, but there is a Vidal Blanc that is over here close to semi-sweet as well. So once again, they give you a little bit of everything with Stonehill as well as Adam Punta for sure.
Very nice. And all the wineries, all the places that you name, are they like relatively newer?
Most of them are old, so they've been around since the
Oh.
80s. Definitely the 80s. Sometimes they've been growing, grapes and stuff before then, but when they can become an AVA and really organized and be official, it's the 80s. So our oldest one is Augusta from 1980. Our newest one is Los Hills District up near Iowa from 2016. But the 4 of the 5 are all from 80, 86, or 87.
Right. Now finding out. Thank you.
So it's like you think of Missouri, like, oh, beer, Anheuser-Busch, whatever,
Yeah.
Coors, Limp, I don't know, Flagstaff. But I had no idea that there was wine about an hour outside of where.
So much of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the info. I wrote down a lot of stuff. Trying to check some things out.
Know that this is recorded, and usually after, Tahira and team will send a recording, so you'll be able to refer back to it as well.
I gotta write it down. Gotta write it down, put it in the notes, and then probably take a screenshot of it. I gotta do my own little. But yes, thank you.
These vineyards and wineries do ship, so I won't be no shopper anyway. So.
Do you have any prices on a few of them?
I bought these this morning. I think the most expensive would have been, the cheapest was this Stonehill Vidal Blanc at like $7.99 at like my local grocery store. It's the equivalent to a HEB or Ralph's or something. If HEB East Coast, Ralph's on the West Coast, or like what's the other one? Escaping me. Anyway, Smith's in Arizona. The Adam Puntas are about $12.99, $14.99.
Okay.
I believe I caught the Stonehill Steinberg Red for about $10.99 on sale. So they're not very expensive at all. Now these are the ones that are in the grocery store. They're going to have some more, top shelf options at the vineyard themselves. But once again, based on their demographic, they're not going to overprice it because they know someone in Missouri is they're not about to buy a $20 bottle of wine around here, in all honesty. So they price it knowing the demographic, knowing the price point, and if people are buying in middle America, in the middle, that's probably most of their buyers, as opposed to St. Louis or Kansas City, where there's more of an urban population and rural. So it's not very expensive at all. I think about those 6 bottles, and then let me give you a discount. I think I probably spent $70, $75, but I bought those 6 right after the 5K, and that was probably with a little bit of a discount. So
no, that's definitely well priced.
Well priced and approachable, and you don't feel bad if like, I bought this bottle of wine, I don't like it. Well, it was only $8. I've wasted more on drinks at the club back in the day.
Oh, well, I'm in Miami, so yeah.
$5. I moved back here, and you're like, it's like, I'm gonna get a cocktail, and it's $12. $12, this is great. Give me 2.
Exactly. I'm buying the first round for everybody.
If you're open to a hole in the wall, then you can get a good drink for $6 from somebody's uncle. I'm telling you, and they pour heavy.
Unheard of anymore. Not around here.
Have to be in the hole in the wall. You walk in, it's like, ooh, they have not remodeled this since 1974.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much.
Very welcome. You're very welcome.
I already followed you here.
You can reach out to me on Instagram at headwrapsandwine, or you can email me headwrapsandwine@gmail.com. I will put that information in the chat as well, just so you'll be able to.
Oh, I got it written down. Thank you.
Notes, copious notes. And I hope the people from Miami were able to get in. I don't know what was happening there.
They were. Cherie was one.
Okay.
And
Yes, I was in. I made it.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
it. She's in the Miami chapter, and also Tessa. But I think Tessa, she was here. I think her phone died.
Yeah, but I'm a national member, so I just kind of float out here in the ether. Now I'll likely be able to come to Wine and Culture Fest this year, so we'll see. We'll see. I have to get my other trips in first before I do the fun trip.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know we have about 15 minutes left. Are there any other questions that you may have about Missouri wines? Anything you want me to go back to, a certain slide? Otherwise, I can give you some time back for dinner.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm done with my questions. Anybody else, feel free.
No. Well, with that, I want to thank you for your time and thank you for allowing me to share information about the AVAs in Missouri and the fact that we're here and we have wine. So if you find yourself in the middle of the map, feel free to reach out. You'll likely fly into Kansas City or St. Louis and all the wines in the middle, but that's okay. It's only about an hour and a half from each direction.
Really appreciate it. I enjoyed it very much and I learned a lot. So thank you. Now I'm intrigued.
That's a day trip. We can do all that in a day, all that wine tasting.
I know, I would love it. All right, Ryan, let's go. And I've got friends in Iowa and Nebraska, believe it or not. So, we could just do a whole regional thing out there.
As long as it's not cold, I'm in.
There you go. Thank you, Bo.
Now, definitely come out. Myself and Rahib, who's also another member of Hugh Society, are in St. Louis. So we found it just by accident. I was like, is there anybody else in St. Louis who's a Hugh Society member? It's like, Rahib. So we stay in touch. So there's only two of us here compared to like other cities that have national members, but they don't have a chapter. It's two of us. We're holding it down.
Appreciate you.
Have a great evening. Thank you so much. And
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
best.
You too. Have a good night. Bye-bye.